reality in that too, he thought. Michael and his fads. Well, it's a fashion, socialistic principles and a rich wife. Sacrifice with safety, peace with plenty, nostrums 10 a penny. Passing the newspaper hubbub of Charing Cross, frenzied by the political crisis, he turned up to the left towards Danby and Winter, publishers, where his son was junior partner. A new theme for a book had just begun to bend the mind which had already produced A Life of Montrose, Far Cathay, that work of Eastern travel, and a fanciful conversation between the shades of Gladstone and Disraeli entitled Duet. With every step taken, from Snooks eastward, his erect, thin figure in astrakhan-collared coat, his thin, grey moustached face, and tortoise-shell-rimmed monocle under the lively dark eyebrow, had seemed more rare. It became almost a phenomenon in this dingy back street, where carts stuck like winter flies and persons went by with books under their arms as if educated. He had nearly reached the door of Danby's when he encountered two young men. One of them was clearly his son, better dressed since his marriage, and smoking a cigar, thank goodness, instead of those internal cigarettes. The other, yes, Michael's sucking poet and best man, head in air, rather a sleek head under a velour hat. He said, Michael. Hello, Bart. You know my governor, Wilfred Desert. Copper Cohen, some poet, Bart, I tell you. You must read it. We're going home. Come along. Sir Lawrence went along. What happened at Snooks? Le Roi est mort. Labour can start lying, Michael. Election next month. Bart was brought up, Wilfred, in days that knew not demos. Well, Mr. Desert, do you find reality in politics now? Do you find reality in anything, sir? In income tax. Michael grinned. Above knighthood, he said, there's no such thing as simple faith. Suppose your friends came into power, Michael. In some ways not a bad thing. Help them to grow up. What could they do, eh? Could they raise national taste, abolish the cinema, teach English people to cook, prevent other countries from threatening war, make us grow our own food, stop the increase of town life? Would they hang dabblers in poison gas? Could they prevent flying in wartime? Could they weaken the possessive instinct, anywhere? Or do anything, in fact, but alter the incidence of possession a little? All party politics are top-dressing. We're ruled by the inventors and human nature, and we live in Queer Street, Mr. Desert. Much my sentiment, sir. Michael flourished his cigar. Bad old man, you two. And removing their hats, they passed the cenotaph. Curiously symptomatic, that thing, said Sir Lawrence. Monument to the dread of swank. Most characteristic. And the dread of swank. Go on, Bart, said Michael. The fine, the large, the florid. All off. No far-sighted views, no big schemes, no great principles, no great religion or great art, aestheticism in cliques and backwaters, small men in small hats. As panteth the heart after Byron, Wilberforce, and the Nelson Monument, my poor old Bart. What about it, Wilfred? Yes, Mr. Desert, what about it? Desert's dark face contracted. It's an age of paradox, he said. We all kick up for freedom, and the only institutions gaining strength are socialism and the Roman Catholic Church. We're frightfully self-conscious about art, and the only art development is the cinema. We're nuts on peace, and all we're doing about it is to perfect poison gas. Sir Lawrence glanced sideways at a young man so bitter. And how's publishing, Michael? He said. Well, Copper Coin is selling like hotcakes, and there's quite a movement in duet. What about this for a new ad? A duet by Sir Lawrence Mont, Bart, the most distinguished conversation ever held between the dead. That ought to get the psychic. Wilfred suggested G.O.M. and Dizzy, broadcasted from hell. Which do you like best? They'd come, however, to a policeman holding up his hand against the nose of a van horse, so that everything marked time. The engines of the cars whirred idly, their drivers' faces set towards the space withheld from them. A girl on a bicycle looked vacantly about her, grasping the back of the van, where a youth sat sideways with his legs stretched out towards her. Sir Lawrence glanced again at young Desert.